Hey guys, it's Alyssa here, and today I shall be talking about all the books that I read in December of 2020 and in January of this year. I'm already exhausted. So yeah, I read very few books in December, so I didn't want to do a wrap up, so I'm just here wrapping up all the things that I read. I did set a TBR for December, so I'll tell you what challenges I completed and stuff like that. We're just gonna hop right into it because these always take forever and I always feel like editing them is a chore. The very first book is A Dangerous Collaboration by Deanna Raybourn. This is the fourth book in the Veronica Speedwell series. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. I am trash for this series. I am trash for the characters' dynamics in this series. There's something about it that is so comforting, and it's not really like a comfort read, I would say, but there's just something that just makes me feel like, I don't know, comfortable. I don't know what it is, but it's just, I love this series. Obviously, like, I'm not gonna go too much into detail because it's the fourth book in the series. The next book that I read was Wicked issues 3 through 6, or 2 through 6? 2 through 6, I think. I don't know. Either way, it was like everything but the first one. And those were the rest of the issues that made up the first volume in this series. I thought it was going to be like a standalone, like individual volume, but I don't know. I guess maybe not. Like, I ended up giving it, I think I ended up giving it like 3 stars, 2 stars, something like that. Like, it wasn't bad, but it just literally had like a non-ending. Like, it built and built and built to what I thought would be an interesting conclusion, and I felt like it was just left hanging. With graphic novels, you either need to know that you're going to continue it and to have it be a series, to leave it open-ended, or you need to wrap it up. The characters were interesting, they weren't extraordinary, but I already forgot about it. The only thing I will say is I really like the art style in this series. Second to last book that I read in 2020 was actually on my favorites list, and that was Lady Susan by Jane Austen. I have many feelings about this book. I loved it. It's unlike anything else that I feel like I've read so far by Jane Austen. I loved how the main character, her character, was so interesting, and by interesting I mean positively evil. Some people might not like the way that it ended, but I feel like with this novel, the biggest thing is the buildup and the fact that, like, we know how it ended. We knew that it was going to end that way, but all of Austen building up to us getting to that ending, I feel like was well done, because it's like you're not surprised by what happened because she built these characters so well that you knew what they were going to do. I like a lot of things people hate though. I just do. I don't know why. The next book is Lumberjanes Volume 14. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. I just am kind of over Lumberjanes. I'm happy that I think it's finally ending. I think it needs to. I think it's lived its life. Keep reading and I will finish the series. Every time I read one, it feels like I'm either reading the same thing, or it's just like, am I getting more out of the story, or are we just trying to keep a story that should have ended going? So for December, I had wanted to participate in the Very Ostentatious Readathon. I didn't really do anything for that. Like, I didn't watch an adaptation or reread a book that I had previously read, but I did read Lady Susan. I don't think it was a challenge, but I was trying to read an Austen book, and I did. And for the Kaboomathon, I ended up completing 3 challenges. Last books you bought / borrowed, continue a series, and something that won an award within the last 3 years. That's it for December. On to January. We started off the year so strong, and the first book that I read was a 2-star book. So by strong, I mean weak. That was just a book that I saw on Hoopla. I don't know why I read this one first. I probably should have read something that I thought I would enjoy, or had some like on my radar previously, but I just picked this one. And that is The Book Tour by Andy Watson. I gave this 2 out of 5 stars because what was it supposed to be? What was it supposed to tell me? What was the humor supposed to be like? I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what this story was trying to accomplish. I have nothing to add because this just confused me, and I just wish I hadn't read it. The next book is The Stone Heart, and this is by Jordi Belair and Faith Erin Hicks. This is the second book in the Nameless City trilogy, and I loved it. I love this graphic novel series. The artwork, the storyline, the characters, Everything about it is on par. It reminds me, it gives me like Avatar: The Last Airbender vibes, if that makes sense. 4 out of 5 stars. I have nothing else to add other than this was a great continuation in this series. And I've heard no one talk about it. No one? No one talk about it. The next book I own, but I'm not gonna reach up and get it because I'm tired. So I'm instead gonna take the time later to put an image up of it, and that is the 3rd reread of this book, and that is Good Morning, Good Night by Lin-Manuel Miranda, illustrated by Jomny Sun. 5 out of 5 stars again. I borrowed this one night when I was really sad. Actually, it wasn't a night, probably a week. I was really sad. And I have nothing else to add. This is obviously my 3rd reread of this book. It's a little book about pep talks, and you have there's a pep talk for the morning and a pep talk for nighttime. And it's amazing. Cannot recommend it enough. The next book was a book I was really nervous about. I was so nervous about this book and how I would like it. And that is Magnificent Miss Marvel Volume 1, Destined. I was so nervous when I heard that Miss Marvel was kind of being like rebooted. I wasn't sure what like to expect. Like, are we kind of like starting at a different place in her storyline? Like, I really wasn't sure. I've never really read like a comic series that got picked up by like another artist and kind of going in a different way, like storyline wise. So I wasn't sure what to expect, but it felt like we picked up where we left off. 5 out of 5 stars. Literally, Miss Marvel. I have nothing else to add other than I love her with everything in my being. I love all the characters in this series. I love her friends. I love her family. I love her community. Like, I love it all. So I'm very, very excited to read the 2nd volume, which is out, and I already have it checked out from Hoopla. Sign me up. The next book that I read was a thriller, a full-length novel. Whoa, getting into full-length novels here. And that was One by One by Ruth Ware. And surprisingly, I did not quite enjoy this as much as I thought I would. Not gonna lie, it was a tiny smidgen of a letdown. I ended up giving it 4 stars. It's still really good. It's still a really good thriller. There's nothing wrong with this book. It's just not a full 5 stars. There's a certain way that the story gets told in the end that is very see-through, and I don't like as a reader knowing things, and I don't like when things are just kind of like blown open and everybody can see what's going on, like you as the reader and the characters and everything like that, and it's like you're getting like these dual perspectives. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I just didn't care for the way the end of the story got told. All that being said, I felt like the characters in this book were so good. The main character, it is dual perspective, but the one main character that we get is so good. She is so well fleshed out for a thriller. Most of the times I read thrillers going into it knowing I'm gonna hate everybody, and I went into this and I ended up loving a character, which is very odd for me, and I felt like she was relatable and I understood her, and you know, it was really good at that. Like, Ruth Ware did such a good job at fleshing out the characters in this book. Sorry if that angle changed, but I ran out of room on my phone. I just feel like compared to The Turn of the Key, I didn't leave it going, it wasn't as twisty and turny as I wanted it to be, but it's still good. It's still good. The very last book that I read in January was The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. I cannot properly describe to you how much I love this book. Sorry again for the change. If there was a change in position, I ran out of room again. This was so good. This was so good. Rachel Hawkins did such a good job at really reflecting the characters in Jane Eyre into these characters in this retelling. It was such a good thriller retelling of this story, and it will go down in my list of favorite books, definitely of this year, probably of all time. It is by far one of my favorite thrillers. It's one of the best retellings I've ever read. I've tried reading Jane Eyre retellings before and it did not end well, but this one ended so good. So good. I have something to add to my wrap up, and that is that I did not tell you my monthly things. I didn't tell you my TBR jar things. So I didn't tell you which of my TBR challenges I completed. I completed the challenges to read a graphic novel / manga and to also read a series. I did both of those, but I did not do the one to read a book over 400 pages. Big shocker, but that's where we're at. Yes, there is shame, but I did the best I could. So, yeah, okay, bye. Editing Alyssa here, and I just want to tell you that I once again had an issue with running out of space on my phone, and I guess I didn't record my outro, so there's that. But basically, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you read in January, what you enjoyed, and I know this ended up being kind of a choppy ending, but I don't have the time or ability to go back and refilm the whole video. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. I would love to know them. And I think I covered everything. So yeah, hopefully I will see you all in the next video.